welcome. Today we're going to be doing the fourth video and final video on white diamond detailing products. So if you haven't watched the previous videos, you probably should, because you can't really apply a ceramic coating without having done the preparation steps. In the first video, I introduced you to the products. In the second one, I did a snow foam followed by a standard wash with wheel cleaner, with all-purpose cleaner, getting in all the nooks and crannies and cleaning out the vehicle. The third video, I tested out their polishes and their panel wipe products. And so far, all of the products have been really good. They've worked very well. In this video, I'm going to be applying their ceramic coatings. And there are two different ceramic coatings that they sent me. This one is Graphene Plus, and the other one is Coating V2. So what I thought is, I have this Honda Passport. It sits outside all day, every day. It never gets parked in the garage. I thought it'd be a good candidate for me to apply a coating to and see how it holds up under reasonable weather. Now, I live in California. We don't get snow. We get barely any rain. It's sunny most of the time, but the car's dirty all the time. There's a lot of dust and debris and pollen and stuff like that in the air. I wash the car at least once every 2 weeks, most likely every week is pretty normal for me. And it's a fairly large vehicle, so it'll allow me to use up a bit of this coating, not be throwing a bunch of it away just because I'm only doing testing on it. I decided what I was going to do is the passenger side of the vehicle I'm going to do with the graphene coating, and the Coating V2 I'm going to apply on the driver's side. And that's just going to let me kind of experience both of them, have it be pretty similar in terms of wear and tear and debris and road stuff and everything else. And then let's just see how they compare over the next couple of months. It's currently May. This car is going to go back in December. It's a lease. It's going to be turned in. I already did this rear quarter off camera. We're going to do the rear door on film. I'm going to show you how it works. Honestly, it's a pretty uneventful process. It works as you would expect from any other coating if you've used other coatings before. They give you these applicators in the box. There are two of them in the box, which I like actually, because if you don't get it all done in one day, you have another applicator for another day. It's a foam pad with an applicator on the front. You apply generous amount to the pad like that. It's got a dropper, standard dropper like the G-Technic ones have in them, or most other brands. And we can just start applying. So I'm going to use a crosshatch pattern. Start at the top. I do like this foam block because it has like a hard corner that you can use for things like these trims. So I'm finding that I don't need to like tape any trim off or anything like that. Come down this edge. Same thing with this edge. I can get in there with the corner. Now on the back of the vehicle, I actually ceramic coated the plastic part too. So I'll probably continue doing that throughout the rest of the vehicle. Over here. And this is a fairly large panel to be doing all at once, a full door on a car. But I found that the working time is actually really good on this, so I didn't have to rush when I did the rear quarter. So we'll say I'm pushing it a bit. So we've got our back and forth pattern. Now what I normally like to do is go over with a up-down pattern. Because it's such a big panel, I'm just going to put a little bit more on my applicator. I'm going to open this to make sure I get this edge here. Apologies for blocking the camera. Get that out of the way. And we're really just doing the crosshatch to make sure that we get all the nooks and crannies. And I'm seeing it just start to flash in a couple of these areas, which is kind of what we're looking for. So hurry it up a bit here, just like that. All right. So now what we're doing is we're watching the door and we're looking for a flash where it turns hazy. So right now we've got some shininess, a lot of shininess up in this upper area that I just did, but I'm starting to get some hazing here in the center of the door. We're gonna give it another minute. I found that it's not hard to buff off, so you can let it be a little bit more on the dry side. You don't have to be right on it like some other coatings. We're gonna be using a CarPro Pearl This is a pearl weave towel for coating removal. I like these. They are, unfortunately, they end up being a disposable towel after this because coatings really destroy your towel and they make it so they'll scratch up your car in the future after they dry. So I'm gonna get this edge here off camera and we're going to start buffing the coating off of the vehicle. And let's say we waited pretty much the perfect length of time. So I'm getting a little bit of haziness, a little bit of grabbiness, but it's coming right off. And we just want to make sure that we get all of it, that we don't leave any high spots behind. I did purposefully leave a high spot on the quarter panel, and I tested going back with a little bit of coating on a rag and was able to reactivate and pull it off. I don't think that that would work long term, but you know, if you're 5 minutes into it, you're looking at it at a couple different angles, trying to see if you missed a spot and you find a spot that's a little hazy, try putting a little bit more on your rag. That might help you out. So we're just gonna look here, a couple different angles. With these pearl towels, I treat them like they are, it's a single towel, but I treat it like it's 8. So I fold it into quarters, and generally I will use 3 of the 8ths on a single panel. So the first one getting the heavy off, the second one buffing off any high spots, haziness, whatever that I missed, and the third one just kind of going over for peace of mind. You could technically start the next panel with your third quarter. So I actually left a little high spot right here. So that's good. Let's take our applicator, put a little bit of ceramic on it, and we will hit this high spot that we left right there. It's going to make it shiny again, and then we'll buff it off, and it comes right off. Now, like I mentioned, if if it's been a day, that's probably not happening. You're polishing it off at that point and reapplying. But if it's been, a minute, 5 minutes, you're probably pretty good. So this door went on really well. I'm going to kind of continue through and do the rest of the doors. In terms of my process today, this car has already been decontaminated. It's already been cleaned. It's ready to go. It's been polished up. I used the Milwaukee polisher now that I did the grease mod on it. It's really nice. So today, all I'm really doing is going over it with a rinseless wash, just making sure that it's nice and squeaky clean, hitting it with a panel wipe, and then applying the coating. And I realized I did some of that off camera, but I did all of that in the polishing video. So check out the polishing video. You'll see how to polish the car. You'll see how to use the panel wipe products, how to clean everything up. In the interest of not making the videos 45 minutes long every single time I record one, I'm condensing a little bit into this specific process. So this door is done. Remove my door gate stopper, shut our door. These things are cool. Kamikaze door gate stopper. Esoteric sells them. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the driver door, the front fender, and then I will start the camera again for the driver's side. All right, so we are on the very last door. This is the driver's side rear, doing the coating V2. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, we applied the Graphene Plus coating to the entire passenger side of the vehicle. I actually did the rear hatch and the front bumper and hood as well. And then the coating V2, I did on the entire driver's side of the vehicle as well as the roof. So I have probably 50-50 coverage, I would say reasonably. And they are different. They're definitely different, you know? It's not the same thing in two different bottles. So, so far as application is concerned, I think I like the graphene a little bit better. It has more slickness to it. So it's definitely, as you're wiping it off, it's a little bit slicker. This coating V2 is a little bit grabbier. And I could see there being benefits to both of those. The applicators work well in terms of consistency and smoothness, but I am on the fourth one. So I used the first one, I did all of the graphene with one applicator. Then I switched to the second one to start with the coating V2. I used an entire applicator on the roof, and then this is my last applicator. I actually just ruined the one before it here on the gas door. This is like a piece of suede on top of foam. So there's like a heavy density foam, then like a medium density foam, and then there's like a piece of suede on top. And what happens is the suede pulls off of the foam eventually. So I would say you'd probably want to have, you know, a couple extras. If you're buying these ones, grab a couple extras, or just have a couple, you know, spares like a pearl or something else that you could use as an applicator, especially if you're doing a bigger vehicle like this. As I went around, I did hit the glass as well. So the glass on this side of the vehicle is done with the V2. The glass on the other side is done with the graphene. I didn't do anything on the windshield, but I did do the graphene on the rear. Both of these have good working time. Both of them are not very smeary. I would say the graphene one is a little bit more forgiving than the coating V2, but they both definitely work well. So both coatings were easy to apply. I found the graphene a little bit more forgiving in terms of high spots and going back and, you know, touching something up, but both of them had reasonable working time. They both had reasonable drying time. They both were pretty forgiving with removing them. I used Rag Company Pearl towels to remove, really ran into no issues. I like the overall slickness of the graphene a little bit better than the coating V2. It's not night and day, but it's maybe, you know, the slickness on this side is like an 8 and the slickness on that side is like a 9. You know what I mean? It's not the absolute slickest thing that I've ever felt in my entire life, but it's definitely, the graphene is slicker than this. When you are using the graphene coating, you have to shake it. You will notice that there are like little dots of black graphene that come out on the applicator. Those, you know, they kind of smear in. They don't run into any, I didn't run any problems with like staining or black spots left behind or hard removal or anything like that, but you can see like pieces of graphene specifically in there. So we're going to test the durability of this. I'm going to wait a week. I'm going to come back on this video. I'm going to wash the car, and then I will follow up later on at some point in the future, probably in, you know, a couple months when I'm getting rid of this car, and talk about the overall durability, how it held up, all of that. And I'll of course come back to this video in the comments and let you know if I run into any problems. As of right now, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend these coatings, especially if you're in a place where they're available to you. Not that they're not available in the United States, but we do have shipping as an obstacle to get them here. The coatings are more available, of course, over in Europe. These are made in Belgium. I think that they work excellent. I think that the experience was no worse than applying like G-Technic, CSL, EXO, you know, CarPro Deluxe, Armor Wheel coating, you know, some of the other coatings that I've used in the past. It was a great experience. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it to somebody or use it again. Just gonna wrap up the coating video here. Like I mentioned, this side is coated with the graphene, the other side is coated with the coating V2. One of the things that you're going to notice when you do a coating, you see this bird poop right on the back of on the hatch here. So because nothing really sticks to the coating because it's so slick. You'll get some runniness where like normally you get a splat, it kind of goes into the trims and stuff like that. So that is an interesting side effect of a coating. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wash this side. I'll go around, wash the other side, and try to show you both on camera. And then when we're done, I'll dry it off and I'll let you know what I think. Soap's a little runny today. The GSF has been in there for a while. So you can see the soap is actually beading and running off of the car. We're seeing the same thing on both sides. So this is the graphene, the hood is graphene, the bumper is graphene. This side is the coating V2. Very similar hydrophobic properties, got a little bit of sheeting down here on the door, a little bit of sheeting up high, but mostly the same. Like I said, I think the graphene is overall a little bit slicker. So I gotta hurry and go through this because I'm in the sunlight and I don't want to run into any problems here. All right, so this is a week of using the vehicle. Did rain twice. Overall, pretty happy with it. All right, so this is the best part of a ceramic coating, honestly. All right, so now we just get to do a little bit of touch-up drying.
You can see this side is pretty much dry.
So both coatings worked really well. Now, these are brand new products. I've never touched them before, and I was able to apply both the coating V2 and the graphene coating without any issues. They're definitely easy to use and apply, even for somebody who might be new to the product line. If I was going to buy one of them for myself, I would pick the graphene coating. And I'm honestly surprised that I'm saying that, because for me, graphene has always been kind of a, I don't know, like a buzzword, magic thing. But the graphene coating is slicker than the coating V2. It applied a little bit easier and was a little bit more forgiving when it comes to high spots and cleaning up high spots when you leave something behind. I found that it had a longer working time on the sponge. I didn't tear up as many sponges, which might be application style or method or something along those lines, but I used one on the graphene, I used 3 on the other. And then just the drying properties of it when I was using the blower and trying to clean the water off of the car. I mean, this side was completely dry. And granted, it's in the sun, I get that. But the back was that way too, the back hatch, and the back hatch is also graphene, the front is graphene. The roof and the other side had some droplets and some amount of product left behind, or there's some amount of water left behind. The whole point of one of these coatings is to keep things from sticking to your car. They both achieve that very well. It does allow you to use less product. I could use less soap, I could use less water, use less towels. It makes it a much more efficient washing session. Which I think is what we're trying to do here. So I wouldn't hesitate to buy these products with my own money. I realized they were sent to me for testing. I'm not just saying that I like them because they were sent to me for free for testing. I have some coatings that I don't like. These both went very well. I wouldn't hesitate to use them in place of my standard coatings, the CSL and XOV5, or some of the other coatings that I've experienced before. I will be testing out some more in the future. I have the Cerakote coating here. I have Armor's Pro coating here. I've got a couple glass coatings here. I was able to put the white diamond coatings on the glass. I did all of the side glass, and that worked very, very well. It went on very easily. It came off very easily, worked well. So I think that that's definitely an option as well. I'm gonna put the graphene one on the windshield and let that cure and see how it works. I didn't do the windshield. It's the only piece of the entire car that I didn't do a coating on. The Honda paint absorbed it really well, but the paint on Hondas isn't great. It's like dry and kind of flaky almost. It's like when you have dry skin. I don't know how to describe it. It's not flaky, it's not peely, but it feels like there are larger open cavities in between the pieces of clear coat, especially like on the roof. This wraps up the White Diamond video series. Next, I'll be starting on Koch Chemie Blue and playing with those products. Thank you for watching. If you're in a place where you can get these, I'd recommend checking them out. They all worked very well. Literally the entire line worked very well. In the US, it's a little expensive in terms of shipping. I'm interested to see what happens in the future. If they're able to get distribution in the United States, that might make it more of a viable option for us. But for those of you in Europe, it's definitely a good product line and definitely one worth considering. So thank you for watching and have a great day.